Santa is tired of milk and cookies. He wants some sangria. Hi, my name is Candace, aka Picasso baby, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own Santa sangria. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by to paint with me today. So it is the holiday season. It is also day 3 of 5 days of Christmas with Picasso baby. And today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own Santa sangria. Listen, I know we give Santa cookies and milk, but for the ones of us that don't have children and don't have to lay that stuff out, our Santa wants sangria. So today we are here to give it to him. But as always, before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so that you do not miss the next tutorial. All right, so I'm going to go over everything that you're going to need for this tutorial, everything that I'm going to be using. As you can see, I'm using a 16 by 20 inch canvas. Remember, you can use the canvas size of your choice. It's completely up to you. We are going to be doing some drawing today, so you do want to make sure that you have a pencil or a permanent marker to draw with. And you're going to want to make sure you have some chalk as well, because we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing later on after we get some paint on there. So you want a marker and or a pencil, and you want a piece of chalk. You also want to make sure you have some different size acrylic brushes, a water cup with cold water for your brushes, and like a rag or some napkins to dry your brushes off on. And then of course you want your paint. I'm working with acrylic paint. I am using the colors phthalo blue, Mars black, chrome yellow, burnt sienna, bright red, and titanium white. And as always, everything is listed down in the description below, and we are going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to start out with is, of course, drawing out my Santa. So remember, we giving Santa sangria this year. Put them kids to bed. Give Santa some sangria. He grown. So I am going to start by sketching him out first. The first thing I want to do, most of his face is going to be in this corner area here. So the first thing I want to draw is his nose. So I'm making a curve, a little curve, and then a bigger curve. Now from there, I'm going to start to shape his beard out. So from this little curve here, where this little curve and this little almost like backward C meets, I am going to pull a curve over to the side, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. But this time I'm going to pull it up and off the canvas. So you can see we're starting to get in his facial features there. Well, his nose and the start of his beard. The next thing I want to do is right under the nose. So I'm going to come down just a bit, and I want to pull a quick curve line that way and a curve line that way. And then I am just going to close it off. Now that we have his face up there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down just a bit, and I'm going to start to work on his hand that's going to be holding the sangria. So for his hand, I am going to come in this area here. So if you come down from his nose, down from where his face is, and then come over. So I'm coming down and over. I'm going to start in this area here. I'm going to do a curve up, curve down. And then I am going to make a little curve up front. So that's going to be the top of one of his fingers. From there, I am going to curve another finger. And I'm going to do this 4 times. So I'm going to curve another finger. One more. Now for the back of the hand here, I'm going to pull this line, a line down at an angle here. And I'm going to do the same thing up here at the top. Pull it down from an angle. And then I am going to close those 2 off. So we got his face here. We got his hand here. Now, of course, we want to do his arm and the sleeve of his suit and things. So from there, I'm going to come back to the edge here. So where we curved this off at, I'm going to come back where I started that curve. And I'm going to pull an opening like that down. And then I want to create the cuff or the little white fur on his arm. So I'm going to actually come back to the top of the hand, and this line doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to pull a line down under his pinky. So now we have his hand and the end of his sleeve there. I'm going to come back up to the beard and get some things going there. So we have this line here. I'm going to move over, and I'm going to start to just make a bit of a curvy line going down to his hand. So that's going down to the top of that hand. I'm going to continue that line. So I'm going to pick his beard up on the other side of his pinky here. And I'm just going to do a curved line. Oh, now from there, super simple. All we're going to do is I want to pull down the white strip or the white strip of fur down the center of his suit. So I'm just going to pull 2 lines going down. And then I also want to pull out his shoulder. So I am going to just do a curve over. Once you have all of that, we are going to go ahead and start to paint. This is all we want to get in for now. So you can go ahead and put your pencil or your marker up, and we'll use the chalk a little bit later. All right, so now it's time to do a little bit of painting. So the first thing that I want to get in is I want to actually paint in the red of his suit. So I am going to be using my biggest brush, and I'm going to take some of my red, and I'm going to show you where you want to place it at. So we have this center stripe here. Everything below the beard on the other side of the stripe is going to be red. Everything on this side of that middle stripe is also going to be red, and underneath that little fur curve that we created. So all of that's going to be red, and then also his shoulder. All of that is going to be red. So I'm just going to get that all filled in with red to start with. All right, now once you have that filled in, the next thing I want to do is I want to get his skin tone filled in. So I'm actually going to switch brushes. I am going to switch to my medium round brush. Now you can make your Santa the color of your choice. It's completely up to you, but we already have this burnt sienna, right? So if you like the burnt sienna, you can use it as is. If you want to lighten it, you can mix it with a little bit of white. The more white you use, the lighter it will be. If you want to go for more of a caramel tone, you can mix up brown, yellow, and a little bit of white. If you want to go darker, you can mix up brown and a little bit of black. You want to be really careful with the black because it does turn it dark really quickly. Or you can even go lighter by mixing up brown, red, and a really good amount of white. And that will give you a lighter tone. Now, once you decide which one you want to use, all you're going to do is you're going to be filling in the face. You're also going to fill in this area for the mouth. And then this little curve underneath the arm here, you want to get that completely filled in as well. So not the hand, that's going to have a glove on it, not the fur, but this little piece here. You just want to fill that in. So we're going to just work on filling that in, and then we'll move to the next step together in a few. Now, once you have your skin tone filled in, we're going to keep using the medium-sized round brush. You want to make sure to wash it out really good and dry it off. And what I'm going to go into first is I want to fill in his glove. Now, his glove is just going to start out with white. I'm just starting out with white. You can do the color of your choice. But I'm just going to fill the glove in with white to start out. Now, what I'm going to do to bring the fingers back out, I'm going to take a little bit of black. And on each finger, I'm just going to, and if it comes out too black like that, just wipe it off on your plate. I'm going to blend right on top of my white. So I'm just, the same way we would normally add like highlights, I'm just adding a little bit of black to help the finger stand out some more. And we are going to end up outlining this later, so it will bring it out more then as well. But for now, just so that you can see each finger, I'm just adding a little bit of black to it. And you want to do that part while it's still wet so that it turns into more of a gray and not just a strong black. I'm going to put a little curve back here at the back of his glove too. Now, again, I'm not going to wash my brush because now I actually want to go in and fill in his beard. I am just going to be picking up white for his beard, but every now and then I'm going to add a little bit of black to my brush just to give it some color. So I'm just filling the beard in with white, but every now and then I'm going to pick up just a little bit of black just to give it some color and help it stand out more. Now, once you have your glove filled in, you got your beard filled in, the next thing I want to do is fill in the white fur. So I'm still using my medium round brush. If you would like, you can switch back to your biggest brush. You just want to make sure to wash it out really well because this time I am using just white. And I am going to fill in the middle strip and then the fur on the end of his sleeve. Come over here and fill in the fur on his sleeve. Now, once you have that done, the last thing I'm going to do before I take a quick drying break is I'm going to fill in my background. Now, if you like it with the white background, you can leave it as is. I am just going to do a black background, so I'm not even going to wash my brush. But if you would like to do a different color, it's completely up to you. But just this little corner here, I'm just going to get this filled in with black. All right. And once you have your background filled in and everything else filled in, all we're going to do is take a quick drying break. So remember, you can always grab a blow dryer and blow dry your painting, or you can give yourself about a 10 to 15 minute break to let it dry completely. On that break, you know, you can always grab yourself a sangria. Santa isn't the only one that deserves a drink, but you just want to let it dry completely and make sure you grab your chalk because we're going to be using that in the next step, and we'll start back together in just a few.
One eternity later.
All right, so now that our paintings are completely dry, we're going to come back and give Santa his sangria. So I am going to use a piece of chalk to get the cup drawn out. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to create a nice little U on the top of Santa's glove. So I'm using the top of his glove to create a U. From there, I'm going to close it off by doing a curve under, then a curve over. Now, of course, we want to give him a stem of his glass. So he's holding on to the stem. So we don't have to pull a lot down. I'm just going to pull down 2 little lines. And then I am going to create almost like a really long oval for the foot of the glass. Now, once you've done that, you are done with your chalk. Now, I'm going to go back in with my medium round brush. You can use the smallest brush for this part if you're more comfortable with that. But for the sangria, I want it to be darker than the red I'm already working with. So I am going to take a little bit of black and some of my red and just mix it up. So you see it's going to make like a burgundy color almost. That's exactly what I want. Unless you want to give Santa a different kind of drink. If you want to do a different color drink, it's completely up to you. But if you are doing sangria, you want to mix up red and a little bit of black. And right inside the cup, I am going to just Pull a line over like that. And I'm going to fill everything below the line in. Sangria normally does have like fruits in it. Like sometimes it'll have oranges or lemons and limes. Sometimes it'll have like cinnamon sticks and cranberries and things like that, depending on the person's preference. Just so that it stands out as sangria, I'm going to add an orange slice in it. Now, if you want to add an orange slice on the glass, you can. I'm going to add mine inside of the cup, and I'm still using my medium round brush. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to wash off that darker red. I'm actually going to mix it in with some of my yellow, and it's going to give me an orange color. And right inside my glass, and you can do this wherever you like, I'm just going to curve a line over and fill it in. And your paint is still wet, so it will blend a bit. That's completely fine. But if it's blending too much for you, you can definitely give it a second to dry and then do this part. But I'm just using the corner of the glass and blending that over. Now I want to take a little bit of white, and I'm going to curve another line over so that that orange turns a little bit lighter. And then I'm going to let that orange slice dry for a second. And while that's drying, we're going to work on some other details. So now, just to bring everything out, we are going to outline in black. Now, for the outline, you can use the medium round brush, or you can use a smaller brush. So I do have a teeny tiny small round brush, and I'm going to be using that one. Now, the one part that you want to make sure that you do first is just outlining his nose and mouth. You might have lost the two curves on the side for his nose once we painted the face in. So we're going to bring out that curve at the bottom first, since you can still see that. And from there, you're going to pull a curve up on one side, curve up on the other side. And again, I'm using my smallest brush in black paint. Now I am going to outline the start of the beard. And I'm going to outline the mouth as well. The next thing I want to do is I want to outline my glass. So I'm still using black paint, but I am going to go right over the chalk lines. Now, you might not cover up all of the chalk lines. That's okay. Once your painting is completely dry, you'll be able to wipe off any excess chalk lines that you have. So don't worry about trying to make like really thick lines to cover up all of the chalk. You just want to get your glass outlined. And then remember, you want to get the foot of the glass as well. So just two lines down. And then a little longer oval around the stem for the foot. Now you're going to continue using black to go in and outline everything else. So outlining his beard, his gloves, everywhere where we drew out lines at, we're going to go ahead and get outlined. I did a black background, so I don't have to outline this part. But if you did a different background color, you do want to make sure to outline all of this as well. So we're just going to work on getting the outline in, and then we will move to the next step together in a few. Now, once you have finished outlining everything, you can see how clean it makes it look, how it brings everything out and makes it pop. Once you're done with that, the last thing I'm going to do is I want to add a few highlights in. So I'm still using my smallest brush, but I'm using just white paint. And I'm going to go back in on my orange, and I am going to do a line across the top. And if your paint is still a little wet, that's okay. And then I am going to do some little lines for slices. I'm also going to use some of my white to add a little highlight on my glass. And you can add the highlights wherever you want to see it on the glass. And I'm going to bring one inside of my glass as well. And if there is anything else that you would like to add, feel free to add whatever you would like to really make it your own. You can add words. If you want to add more to your drink, feel free to do so. But the last thing you want to make sure to do is simply signing your painting. So you want to sign your signature or your initials. I am just going to sign my initials right in the corner here. And once you have signed your name, you now have your very own Santa Sangria. Thank you all so much for painting with me today. I hope you have enjoyed this one. Remember, if you can still see your chalk lines, wait till it's completely dry. You can take a cold, wet rag and wipe it completely off. And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And I will see you in the next tutorial.